This thing that he's doing where he's pretending that he's a woman is very smart.
It really don't make a difference if you say he or she to me.
Some psychopath can just pretend that they're a woman and knock women over on the court.
I gotta check this out.
Norman's a fucking woman, dude. I bet.
Oh,
It's a giant dude who's just dominating these chicks. So the more controversy there is, the more people do come to see them. The crazy thing about the WNBA, imagine if the NBA had the same sexual dynamic. Imagine if the most of the team was a bunch of gay dudes who were like very aggressive and black.
The WNBA has reached a major ideological turning point, and the league's leadership appears increasingly rattled as some of the biggest voices in sports media publicly expose what they see as the league's glaring double standards.
If you can't define what a woman is, then you're an idiot. And this is nonsense. And that's what your ideology is. Your ideology is so stupid, you can't define the difference between a male and a female. And so you've decided that people identifying with something means it's a real thing. And you have to say it because everybody else says it. And they scare you and they'll cancel you and go after you. So everyone's agreed to nonsense. So this is where we painted ourselves into this dumbass fucking corner.
What began as a forceful effort by corporate media to promote certain political narratives has now backfired dramatically, igniting a fierce public debate that has spread from major podcast platforms to mainstream television news.
Brittney Griner now adding her voice to the debate over transgender athletes. She's a WNBA star, slamming the push to ban biological men from competing against biological women.
So when someone like Brittney Griner says, actually, I'm going to fight for men to play in women's sports, it's just another blow against lots of young female athletes.
But they've painted themselves in a corner, because if they don't let the guy in, it looks bad.
Right.
But if they do, he's going to dunk.
Well, the thing is, can you define what a woman is? And until you can't, if you can't define what a woman is, then you're an idiot. And this is nonsense.
During a heated episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan went after the sports establishment, arguing that athletic organizations have backed themselves into an increasingly confusing position where they struggle to clearly define what a woman is. He then followed up by presenting what he described as the undeniable facts behind his argument.
One of the things that Joe Rogan, a prominent podcaster, one of the things that made him wake up to this issue is he's an MMA fighter.
Correct.
And when Joe Rogan saw biological males who are transitioning to female beating the hell out of biological females in the ring, he started to think,
what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Like, why are we cheering this on?
If you say anything like, look, trans women aren't women. There are men who identify as women, which is fine, but there's a biological distinction that protects women in sports, and that's chromosomes. We know XX chromosome, you're a woman, XY, you're a dude. Do it that way. Call yourself whatever the fuck you want. But if you want to play in the WNBA, you have to have XX.
He emphasized that, in his view, biological sex is rooted in basic genetics, pointing to XX chromosomes for females and XY chromosomes for males. He argued that allowing biological males to compete in women's sports undermines the protections and competitive framework that Title IX was originally designed to establish.
The WNBA have an onus of responsibility to be able to ensure that it's fair playership, though. I don't know if playership's a word.
For college sports and for the WNBA too, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's ever okay for guys to be playing girl sports, but if this is true, then she was like the origin of this epidemic.
Mostly big black gay ladies and a few scared-looking Sophie Cunninghams that have to point fingers at people. You're surrounded by people who think you're perhaps sexually attractive.
They've made it into a reality show. It's become like Real Housewives. They're all just fight now.
Right.
That's the only reason you watch.
But it is an interesting sexual dynamic.
During the discussion, Rogan also addressed what he described as the WNBA's increasingly political atmosphere, arguing that outspoken players such as Sophie Cunningham have been placed in the position of defending biological distinctions while facing league narratives that, in his view, overlook basic scientific principles.
You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play.
The WNBA's Brittney Griner is a man.
That's not a woman. That's not a female. That's not even a trans person. That is a man.
Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man.
The controversy intensified when WNBA veteran Brittney Griner publicly stepped into the national debate. Griner criticized efforts to prevent transgender athletes from competing in women's sports, arguing that everyone should have the opportunity to participate and saying she intended to use her platform to advocate for trans athletes.
It really don't make a difference if you say he or she to me. Like when I'm out in public, like my teammates sometimes will get mad if somebody call me a he, but I'm just like, I don't care. Like, you know, we go sit down and get some food and they're like, sir, what do you want? I'm like, yeah, let me get the steak, medium well. Thank you. I'm in TSA and I'm going through TSA and, you know, the guy pats me down so I could go through. I'm cool. I didn't have people come running like, no, it's a girl. I'm like, hey, you're making it awkward. Yeah. Like, I'm just trying to get through. Whoever could pat me down the fastest, I don't care.
Yeah.
I've had the opposite where someone was like, hey, you know, it's just against the rules. Like, he can't pat you down. Like, she has to pat you down. And then she walks up and she's looking at me. She goes looking at my chest, looking me up and down, looking at my chest, trying to look at the ID, making it awkward. Or they'll ask me, you really a girl? Nah, I'm lying.
Her comments quickly sparked intense backlash across major news networks. Author Douglas Murray sharply criticized Griner's position, arguing that it could negatively impact thousands of female athletes who have spent years working toward roster spots, college scholarships, and opportunities to compete on a fair playing field.
Everyone deserves the right to play, so she's now weighed in on this. She's got a big voice.
I suppose it's sort of lucky that Brittney Griner's not just starting off, because if these are the rules when she was starting off, then the whole thing might be different. The problem we have in America on this is that there's a very distinct lack, actually, of women defending women in the public square on issues like this, and that isn't the case in every other country. And for instance, in my own country of origin, Britain, there have been very, very prominent women, not just in sports, but across the political and social platforms who have objected to precisely this.
Murray argued that Rogan had recognized the potential dangers of this debate years ago, particularly after seeing cases in combat sports where transgender athletes competed against biological females and gained significant physical advantages. While activist groups praised Griner's position, prominent female sports figures pushed back strongly. Two-time Olympian Sharon Davies and tennis legend Martina Navratilova criticized the narrative, arguing that biological differences can affect women's competitive opportunities and pointing to claims that thousands of female athletes have faced lost opportunities or lower finishing positions. Navratilova also called on activists to stop redefining feminism in ways she believes undermine women's rights and to respect the biological distinctions behind female-only sporting categories. Despite the growing criticism from athletes and fans, however, league officials and outspoken activists have continued defending their positions, further fueling a divisive debate that risks alienating a large portion of basketball's audience.
A woman decided to stand up for women and female spaces. And that woman is now getting lambasted by other women because she doesn't support transgender people in female spaces. Sophie Cunningham, who many of you will probably know from this video, recently got herself in hot water because she had the audacity to say that women and girls should be protected.
WNBA star Sophie Cunningham, who plays guard for the Indiana Fever, when an ESPN feature quoted her opposition towards biological men competing in women's sports. She said she wanted to protect young girls both on court as well as in the locker room, calling her position kind of common sense. It has everything to do with reality.
The growing clash over women's sports has exposed deep divisions within the WNBA. While Sophie Cunningham continues to defend biological fairness despite heavy backlash, critics argue that league officials are allowing political controversy to overshadow basketball. At the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, whose explosive popularity has brought unprecedented attention, packed arenas, and new fans to the league. Supporters say the WNBA should focus on fair competition, protect its biggest stars, and put basketball ahead of divisive cultural battles.